What is going on, guys? It is your boy TKD. Want you to here back in here. I'll place in source with wait, Kev. What? Hello. This is the Last of Us podcast, Road to Part 2, dedicated to any and all things Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2 as we push on towards the Last of Us Part 2's release. And with me, of course, my luxurious co-host, Arachknight. How you doing, good sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It like feels like I just woke up. I woke up like.
Yeah.
Really late, I was playing that Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you know what I'm saying? I was going around being Alexios, you know what I'm saying, doing my thing after the Last of Us stream that we did yesterday, which we will talk about later on in this episode. But how you doing, good sir? How are you?
Like, I've been all right,
Okay.
busy. Like this is the last stretch of my semester, so it's been a little rough.
But hey, we got a little, wait, you're not graduating, right? Are you
No. I'm still working through my degree, but I just spent the last 2 days working for like 10 hours nonstop
on just like schoolwork or
yeah.
Bro, I feel that. I remember those like crunch times. I think the worst crunch time I had was I didn't sleep for like 36 hours. For like my last like it was interesting. I was just grinding out a capstone project. We were actually so long story short, we developed a game and made a arcade cabinet for it too.
That's hype.
Yeah, so like we were just not like we were behind schedule. We just wanted to up the ante a little bit and figured that all right, like if we're gonna do this, might as well just do it big, So
Yeah.
we did like the last 36 hours, just like grinded out together and individually, but it was cool. So seems like you're in good spirits though. Everything's all good, all things considered.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The last grind.
Yeah. But what have you been playing, good sir?
I finished Doom Eternal on Ultra Nightmare.
I did see in the Discord you said that you were like really close to beating it and then you died,
Yeah.
I think. Oh man. That's
Oh yeah, no. My
Or-
game crashed and it detected that I like died for some reason or something like that.
That's even worse.
So your save file gets deleted when you die. So when I relaunched Doom Eternal to hop into my save, there was no save file.
Oh my god, dude.
So I had to and I was at like I think I was at Ark at like Samuel Hayden's base when that happened.
Oh man.
Like right about to fight the Marauder.
I see. Okay, well then that's pretty deep. That's like a
Yeah,
solid
that's-
few hours into the game, definitely.
Yeah, that's like 75% of the way through.
Ah man.
So
That's
I
upsetting.
was like, all right, that sucks. Whatever. So I went all the way through. I played through all in one sitting. I lowered my graphics settings so it wouldn't crash again.
Right.
And then I barely, I'm talking like 5 HP at the end of the final boss.
Jeez, man. Well, it's good to hear you persevered.
And then
that's
they
all good.
added a kernel level anti cheat, so I uninstalled the game right after that.
Wait, they installed a what?
So they added de novo, I believe it's pronounced,
Okay.
anti-cheat for battle mode,
Uh-huh.
and it has kernel level access. And in layman's terms, it has ring 0, which is administrator access to your computer.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's invasive.
Yeah,
I
for
know
sure.
I know Valorant did that. So, and it leaves your computer super vulnerable when the game is running.
Yeah.
So I had installed Doom Eternal right after I finished Ultra Nightmare.
Is that like a common thing in modern games, like for PC
No.
games?
No, there's such a stigma against it, and for all the right reasons, I believe. Like, I don't feel comfortable having something that invasive on my computer.
No, I mean
Because
I can definitely
yeah.
imagine. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
definitely
it's a
imagine.
security breach. Like, it's not very comfortable to have. I don't like it. After installing Doom Eternal, I tried playing something else, and I had to like restart my computer because it's that invasive. Like,
Interesting.
uninstalling the program and then trying to do anything on your computer without restarting it messes it up.
Is there a way you could like play Doom Eternal like offline and like would that help alleviate the issue, or is there just like no
No,
safe way to do it? I guess.
it came with the first update. so you had to install it, or you couldn't like do much with Doom Eternal.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
I updated. I always leave my launchers open,
Right. Right.
so it installed like just with it open.
Hmm.
So yeah, so I just left it open and it installed, and then I read about the anti-cheat, but I was so close to finishing Ultra Nightmare, so I was like, I'll just finish this last push
Right.
and then say my goodbyes to Doom Eternal for now.
Yeah.
So
You hate to see it. That's
yeah,
tragic. That's tragic. Well.
they're removing it now, I believe.
Oh,
But
really?
still,
Okay, so they are like going back on the whole kernel thing, and yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I could definitely see the outrage for sure. I could definitely
yeah,
see.
no, it
Yeah.
has been prolific
Yeah.
how people have been upset about it.
Absolutely, for sure, for sure, for sure. But anything else you've been playing besides Doom Eternal and dodging Doom Eternal's
Yeah,
access
all
to your
that.
computer? Yeah.
The original Final Fantasy VII.
Ooh, very interesting. I'm really glad you played something like this, cause I got one of the games that are related in some shape, form, or fashion. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm going like I'm going on a small trip, not anywhere like populated. It's just like a cabin in like
right,
yeah, it's just like a cabin in the woods. But I'm going there for the weekend next weekend with my family, which is like a
nice,
small yeah, just my immediate family.
nice,
And I was like, hey, I'm gonna be stuck there. Like I love my family, I love spending time with them, but I also want to play some. I want to play something while I'm there.
that's true, that's true.
So I was like, all right, and I bought Final Fantasy VII on the Switch.
Oh, really? Okay, so on the Switch, interesting choice.
Yeah,
Okay, interesting. I mean, I am eventually gonna play the original Final Fantasy, but Christian has always told me to get the PS4 version because on the PS4 version you can, like, I guess, speed up certain things to make the game go by a little bit more quicker. I believe is how he kind of told me, and it really like cuts down the like.
the grind time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's not like you're like missing anything from the original experience. It's just speeding things up, to a certain degree. I'm not sure what exactly like that entails because I haven't seen it firsthand. But I would also probably get it on PS4 because trophy support, of course. Wait,
Yeah, no,
is there trophies on the original
I
Final Fantasy
believe
Seven?
there are achievements on Steam. I
Okay,
believe so. I
yeah,
would
so it has to
assume
be
there would
trophy.
be. Yeah, I
Yeah,
assume.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but yeah, no, and just like playing through some Spider-Man PS4.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So coming off of the remake, like, are you enjoying OG Final Fantasy Seven? Like, have you gone past the Midgar stuff, or are you still in it? Or
No, I just barely started it.
oh, okay, so you just
Like,
barely. Okay, gotcha.
yeah, no, I didn't want to get too into it because, like I said, I've been grinding that schoolwork, and I know
Right.
if I get into it, it's gonna be so hard to not.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that. I feel that. Yeah, I feel that. Well,
So I'm waiting until I'm done, and then I'm
yeah.
just gonna go like full in, and then I'm gonna try and get Crisis Core.
Speaking of Arachknight, so I haven't actually told anyone this yet. So you're gonna be the first one to know about this. You know what I'm
Ooh.
saying? Because I told Christian, listen, I'm gonna tell you on JoyClicks Gamescast, which gets uploaded. I mean, gets recorded right after this show. You know what I'm saying? So you're wow, Kevin, you're right. You're about to get the exclusive here. You know what I'm
Ooh.
saying? So so I was looking around, right? I really wanted to play Crisis Core, right?
Right.
There's a few avenues I could have gone. One of them being I could have hacked my Vita, right? Now I'm not saying I did, because I really didn't, because I actually didn't, right? And
Right.
but the only reason why I didn't was because I have a Mac, and
Ooh.
there isn't a stable way, from what at least I've done my research on, to hack the Vita with a Mac when the Vita's running 3.73, which is the latest firmware, right? So I was like, okay, you know what? Honestly, I was kind of feeling a little bit more uncomfortable with the notion of hacking my Vita. You know what I'm saying? I would like to keep my Vita, on a operating standpoint as stable as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I still love that king, right?
Right.
And then, I was just exploring different ways I could get my hands on 587 Crisis Core.
Yeah.
I went on eBay. I saw a PSP 3000
Oh.
for $80, a nice gray one. I could have bought a used copy of Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, but I got a brand slick new one. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
And those came in on a Monday night, and I am in love. Arachknight. I am.
Ooh.
Oh man. Oh man. It felt so good to hold a PSP again. And honestly, like you can really tell, like if anyone really wants to argue, like from a hardware standpoint, how much better the Vita is to the PSP, like it is clear. You know what I'm saying? Like it is clear. You know, like
night and day.
Night and day. The Vita is not just a copy paste of the PSP with a touchscreen. That's absolutely not at all the mantra, you know, as I've heard a lot before. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels so much better to hold a Vita ergonomically as opposed to the PSP. You know what I'm saying? But the PSP is worse, but it's tolerable, right?
Yeah, well, of course it's older, but like we can appreciate the development.
Oh, precisely, absolutely. And man, dude, like hearing that PSP boot up sound.
Yeah.
My dude, I'm getting so much nostalgia, bro. Like, oh man, like I loved, and like I really forgot like how much the PSP was a part of my childhood, because like I know I played more of the PSP Go, right? That archaic device that is actually unusable to this day because they took off the PSN store for the PSP.
Yikes.
So if you have a PSP Go, you're only stuck with the games that are downloaded on that memory card. You can't get new ones because the PS Store is down for the PSP. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well, because I was leaning on getting a PSP Go, you know.
Right.
But unfortunately, you know, stuck with the PSP, which is fine though. PSP is a fine device. But speaking a little bit more, one last thing, my bad. So when I got Crisis Core, right, I opened the packaging, brand new, and lo and behold, Arachknight.
Yeah.
There was a game manual in the case. And let me tell you something, bro. I got so happy. I was like, oh, we struck gold here, boys. Like, this is tremendous.
That's like brand new.
Dude, I read through that. Oh, man. It was so nice to have a game manual, bro. It felt so cool. Because I remember obsessing over my game manuals on PS2, man. Like, I would read the game manuals whenever I couldn't. So, long story short, I was not allowed to play console, you know, PlayStation 2. I was not allowed to play console during the school week, right? So if it was a school night, I could not play it, which if you guys do the math, that means I could play Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, 2 days a week.
Yeah, 2 days a week, right? But the PSP was fair game. PSP, it was whenever. I don't know why they made that difference, but who knows what my parents were thinking. I don't know. But whenever I couldn't play the PS2, I would always just read the manuals and obsess over the games that I wanted to play, you know?
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see that. And getting in the Crisis Core is really cool, man.
Yeah, it's super cool.
It is a really cool game. I'm like shocked that, like, obviously, yeah, you know, the graphics are dated, of course. It's 2007, it's on PSP, you know what I'm saying? So obviously, like, visually speaking, you know, not the most impressive thing in the world, you know what I'm saying? But I thought it was pretty impressive for the time, you know, like it didn't look that bad, you know what I'm saying? I'm learning more about Shinra and the soldier division within Shinra. I'm learning about characters oh my god,
Zack.
Yeah, of course, our protagonist Zack. You know, we have, I think his name's Angel. I don't think it's Angel. It's Angel. And then, oh my god, they're making copies of this. Oh, Genesis. Yes, they're like making copies of Genesis. Like, and I think something that is a big thing that I didn't know about Sephiroth until this game, and you probably learn later on in Final Fantasy VII, is that Sephiroth is a soldier?
Yeah, no,
Shinra?
Sephiroth. No, that's talked about in the remake. Sephiroth was the soldier. Yeah, he's the soldier. He's a war hero.
Okay, why did I not get that from the game?
Yeah,
I don't know what was happening with me. Like, I was like, oh, like I didn't realize, because I thought Sephiroth was just like this opposing force. I didn't realize that like he.
No, yeah, Sephiroth was the reason Cloud wanted to join Soldier.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I guess I skipped over that in remake. Not sure what happened there. Not sure how I missed that out of my 42 hours of gameplay in the remake. Who knows? But it's really cool, man. It's such a great like system overall. Getting back into the materia system again has been great on like a mobile standpoint. I do like the way like the combat works actually. Where it is it's like if you were to say that the remake combat system, right, is a mix of live action combat and turn-based combat, but it's leaning, I think, maybe ever so slightly more towards live combat, I guess is what I would say, like a little bit more, right? It's the inverse of the remake combat, where it's a little bit more on turn-based, but they're both pretty similar, like
that's what I like to hear.
Like they're you won't feel like really bogged down by the Crisis Core combat system. Like it's definitely familiar enough in terms of the remake. Like it's definitely playable. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's not playable. And you switch through your different materia and fight, which is to just do like hack and slash on your sword via the L and R triggers on the PSP. So it's really a nice way to like change it on the fly, as opposed to the remake when you had to press X, go into the active time battle thing and the whole menu and select what you want to do. Like it's a lot more easier to switch between different abilities and materia on Crisis Core.
Well, didn't in the remake didn't you use like tactical mode by hitting L1 during combat sections?
I meant that. Yeah, I meant that. Yeah, I meant like you go into like how you go into tactical mode, then you go into the menus, pick which move you want to do and stuff like that, or which spell, etc. In the PSP version, it's a lot more just streamlined to just like, all right, like they understand that this is like a mobile standpoint, and things kind of gotta move like a little bit quickly. I feel like in terms of menus, and it's just great. Also, there's like a mail system where you get emails from different people and company-wide emails within Shinra, and like you get more lore off that. Like it's been really, really cool. It's been a really, really cool experience. I'm loving the game, and yeah.
I might get one quick thing before we change topics. Do you know the Crucible from Doom Eternal?
I do.
I bought it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no, I found somebody who makes replicas of the Crucible.
That's hot. Dude, are you serious?
I got a display and the Crucible.
Oh man, I mean, look, Arachknight, I will throw it back to you. Look here. I do have another PSP, right?
Bet?
I have my day one PSP, right? So but here's the thing. There's no charger and there's no battery and there's no memory card, right? But I did, you know what? Actually, let me tell you this. So I did make a list on Amazon, hypothetically speaking, if I were to revive this PSP.
Yeah. Right.
Like how much would it cost to get it up and running? Right. Let me pull up this list, because I could propose an offer to just give you the PlayStation Portable, and then if you want to do your due diligence and spend a whopping, let's see what we got. You'd be spending 15, so 26, about $30.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Around $35. Or if you want, honestly, so the one that I'm not using is my day one PSP, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am proposing that I give you the PSP 3000, the newer one I got off of eBay.
Really?
And just throw that to you. If my like OG PSP works, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, so, I'll buy it off of you. Like.
Yeah, or I mean like I don't mind. Like I'll just give it to you, whatever. Like it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, if you want to do that, I'm sure we can do a little slippy swappy. That way you can have it. But yeah,
Road to Crisis Core.
Road to Crisis Core. Yeah, because the battery on Amazon's going for $11.19 with free shipping, and then the charger is going for $8, and a 16 gig memory card is going for $15. You probably don't even need 16 gigs, honestly. You probably get even like a smaller memory card if you want to be honest. But and then Crisis Core are going on eBay for like 30, 40, Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is but yeah, I've been loving Crisis Core a lot. Very, very fun. 20 minutes into the show, let's get
talking about Final Fantasy.
Let's get into the first topic. This is, of course, Road to Part 2, the weekly podcast series revolving around Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2 as we get ever so closer to The Last of Us Part 2. And we got a few topics here to talk about before we get to the recap talk about this week's sections, which is the Suburbs and Tommy's Dam, which we have both played, of course. And I've streamed if you've missed that. There's a VOD uploaded to the channel if you missed that. But I want to start light and then we'll go heavy. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
It's right with you. So let's talk about The Last of Us 2 PS4 Pro bundle. So this got announced via a little trailer, a pretty cool trailer. You know, just some cuts of trailers that we've seen in the past, revealing the console ever so gracefully over the course of that trailer. So it's like a gray design, and you are seeing, you know, the trailer right now on screen if you're watching on VOD, so you can just ignore my description. But it's gonna be $400. PS4 Pro bundle comes with the game, comes with a custom PS4 Pro console as well as the controller. It's like a gray type of gunmetal type of color, which is I think really nice looking. I don't like the Last of Us Part 2 logo being on the middle sandwich of the PS4 Pro, if you will, like on like the meat. I don't love that placement of that. I would have rather it be, I don't know, like maybe on the top of the PS4. Honestly, I don't even like the logo on the touchpad, to be honest with you.
I think the logo is really invasive.
I just think that, on which one? On the controller or on the PS4 Pro?
Both.
Yeah, I just don't know. I just don't like the logos. Like, I think you could have gotten away with putting The Last of Us Part 2 on the opposite corner of the PlayStation logo on the top of the PS4 Pro, if that makes at all sense. Like, if you're laying the PS4 Pro, like, horizontally speaking, like, flat, you know, in the very top of it, how they have the PlayStation logo on the top, I guess, left-hand corner of the PS4 Pro when you're looking at it straight up, like, front ways, if it's laying flat. And I would have put the logo maybe on the bottom right-hand corner.
I honestly wouldn't have put the logo.
I mean, if they wanted to, I would have rather not have a logo as well. Yes, you're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. I would rather just not. I just don't like that placement of it there. And the controller one looks honestly worse to me. I think that just looks tacky. Like,
yeah, like the first one that comes to mind on like good like custom PS4s is the Spider-Man PS4.
Fire.
Like, I was in love with that console. I didn't have a job, so I couldn't afford it.
Fire. I mean, not fire, but you know.
You hate to hear that.
But
I loved how the Spider-Man PS4 looked. Like, I would have bought that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, my cousin and my best friend have it, so I get to see it on a pretty regular basis, and it's stunning, bro. It is such a good console. Such good looking. Sorry.
Yeah, minimal. No, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say is like I feel like less is more in regards to console designs. Like, it doesn't need to be extra. It doesn't need to be like, oh, we know what we bought. Like, we know the game that we bought it. Like,
yeah,
we don't really need to see like all that. Like, oh, Last of Us Part 2. Like, we know.
Yeah, it would look a lot cleaner without the logos. You're right, because like, you know, to speak of like the main design point is the redoing of Ellie's tattoo on her arm with the flower. With like the butterfly, excuse me, and like the, I guess like they're not really palm trees, but like the branches with the leaves on it. I don't know what you would call that. They look similar to palm trees, kinda. I guess that could be way off. Like, I don't know. Just the like flower type of like branches with leaves type thing with the butterfly. You know, I think that looks amazing on this console. You know, and I want to see, like, it honestly looks like it's engraved. I really doubt it, but it almost looks like it's engraved, right?
Yeah.
Am I tripping? No. Is it?
No, I believe it might be a like a shiny reflective material like on
right.
PS4.
Yeah,
but it would be much nicer, like I don't know, like higher quality if it were engraved. But I don't know. It also feels weird if you run your hand over the console and there are little divots.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I just think either way. I mean, either way, whether it's like a reflective design or like an indent, like an actual like engraving type of deal, it looks beautiful. I think that design looks great, and it's such a great way to like emphasize that hey, part 2 like is you're playing as Ellie. You know what I'm saying? Like there's more emphasis on Ellie. And my bad, I forgot to even mention as well. They announced a partnership with Seagate, and they are releasing hard drives. That
Oh yeah, yeah.
which is actually really funny because considering that Last of Us Part 2 is 100 gigs, so it's like, hey, like and
You're gonna need this.
yeah, like you're probably gonna need this. You know what I'm saying? That and the limited edition PlayStation wireless headset as well has lots. See, I love the Last of Us Part 2 logo on the headset. I think that looks great. I don't understand why they would put the leaf design on the inside of the headband on the headset, because like why? Like when you're wearing it, it's covered. Like I don't know. I don't. So some overall some questionable decisions in terms of design, but I think overall like it looks pretty good. Minus the logos, I think the PS4 Pro would look amazing, as well as the controller. The hard drive logo placement looks a little bit tacky, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't look for an aesthetically pleasing hard drive, per se. So I guess that can pass. But yeah. So if you want to purchase that, that is actually, I'm looking right now on Amazon. It's actually 300. Oh wait, no, sorry, 350 pounds. Excuse me. So that's probably $400 USD. Yeah. So you can cop those if you need some hardware for part 2. I think a big question that I believe you posed in the Discord is that like, who's actually gonna buy this at this point, besides like collectors?
Yeah.
Considering that we're about to get PS5 in November or October, whatever the date is, winter 2020. So holiday 2020. So yeah. I mean,
it's an expensive hobby.
It is. It's an expensive hobby, very much so. But and just some more prices here. So the Last of Us Part 2 hard drive from Seagate is 2 terabytes, so a very nice substantial hard drive. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
And the headset cost $99. So $100 for the headset, and the hard drive will cost you $90 if you want to cop that as well. So pretty cool stuff there. And also you can buy the Last of Us Part 2 controller separately as well if you would like to. So I can see someone buying the controller,
Yeah, like Owen, didn't he buy it?
I think he did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he did. And now he'll have 2 Last of Us controllers, which is wild. He'd be out here chilling, doing his thing. You gotta love it. But the next thing we got this week is I actually didn't realize last week that this was going to be a 4-part thing that they're doing leading up to part 2, but it's true. So the Last of Us Part 2 inside the separate thing, depending on the week, is going to be an in-depth episodic look at the development of Last of Us as we lead on to part 2. So last week was inside the story. Some pretty cool stuff there. Not really a lot to take home about from that one, but this one, for this week, we got inside the gameplay, which showed a lot of juicy gameplay that me and you definitely liked. So I guess asking you, you just watched it, what are your overall kind of top level thoughts about inside the gameplay?
I love a good dodge mechanic. I love games with I don't know, where it rewards good reaction time.
Right.
I love games that do that. Obviously the Arkham games with the counters, Spider-Man PS4 with the perfect dodges.
Mm-hmm.
RE3 with those perfect dodges.
Yep.
I love mastering dodge mechanics. I don't know why. It's fun to me. I had a good time with RE3's dodge mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
It just I'm excited to learn about that. The advancement in mobility after playing part 1 again, compared to what we've seen in part 2 on these inside the whatever. The everything looks so much more fluid.
Yes.
It's remarkable. Like I not too long ago I finished playing through the Uncharted games, and I played Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, and the difference in mobility was noticeable, however not as significant from what I've noticed when in regards to part 1 compared to part 2,
Yeah.
because in part 1 it felt kind of tanky at times.
Definitely felt stiff. Definitely felt tanky. Yes. Yeah.
But in part 2, from what we've seen, Ellie is dodging, weaving in between tight corners, going prone, like aiming while on the ground, like hopping in and out of cover. It feels a lot more fluid, and I hope that means a lot more hectic, because like I play Doom. I like fast paced combat. I
Right.
also love stealth games, and that's where The Last of Us comes in, that like beautiful middle spot.
Yeah.
Like Uncharted 4 did that. Um, Last of Us Part 1 did that to a degree. I like being able to, I like having options in how I'd like to attack a situation.
Right.
And if I feel like going like all out, like guns blazing, I like a good dodge mechanic.
Mm. Yeah.
Like,
I think you said it very, very just took the words of my mouth. Like overall, like, they do talk a lot about how like they're kind of like in the world explanation to the gameplay feeling more fluid than Last of Us Part 1, you know what I'm saying, is that you're playing as Ellie, obviously I believe 19-year-old. Yeah, because she's
yeah,
14. Yeah. So a 19-year-old girl, you know what I'm saying? And, you're not playing as the 40, 50-year-old man that Joel was, you know? So you're definitely going to be like a lot less tanky
stiff.
and stiff, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so definitely like it makes sense story wise, but it looks great, man. And I think like one of the biggest things that I took away from this for sure is seeing a little bit more of combat with the infected, and seeing some more like scavenging as well throughout the game. Like the scavenging, isn't going to be like the most groundbreaking change, I'm presuming, but like it was nice to see a little bit more of like, all right, like what does the game look like when you're playing? You know what I'm saying? Like besides like cutscenes, besides like scripted QTEs, besides cutscenes and different stuff like that. Like what does the game look like when you're prepping to go into one of those things? And
Yeah.
I'm glad that we got a little bit more of it. It looks great. I mean, obviously, but I'm excited. Yeah, definitely because the only like person that I really heard talk about part 2 from a gameplay perspective, like them like actually playing it, was Greg Miller of Kind of Funny, and he was saying that like it feels as silky smooth and as like honed in and as in control as it looks, like for sure, you know. So I can't. Yeah, it looks great. Also, I think you mentioned this. I'm not sure, but being able to prone as well, I think that could mean a lot of like really really cool ways of engaging certain aspects of Last Part 2 as well. So it's looking good.
Um, yeah, no, something I'm curious about. Like, I doubt it, but it's still interesting. It's like, is there a way to sneak around combat sections?
Ooh, and like not even engage.
Yeah,
Interesting. I wonder.
like,
I wonder.
yeah, I know, like, Dishonored. Well, Dishonored's a dedicated stealth game, but there are, like, you can play through the game without killing anybody, which I don't expect to do here by any means. But it's like you can avoid most combat sections just
Right.
by playing more carefully, which
Yeah.
is something that I'd like to see explored. But I also understand why that might not be an option. But it'd be interesting. But it's not like oh, I want to see this. It's like, if they do it, great. If not, then well, you have a bow and arrow for a reason. Like
Yeah.
you
Very, very true. Yeah,
yeah.
and I forget if this little tidbit was said in the docu series inside the gameplay. I believe is what we got this info from, but it's been making the rounds this week that they said that there would be certain story threads that you don't even see the first time you play the game. That like there will be like certain aspects that like are I think are dependent on like a choice that you won't be able to see the full game with one playthrough, which is interesting as well. You know,
Hmm.
yeah. How do you? I guess like how do you feel about it? Because like I imagine it's like hey, you can go down A tunnel or B tunnel, and even though A tunnel and B tunnel lead to the same thing, maybe there's like certain like little like story bits like for example the story of Ish, you know what I'm saying, in the section of the sewers and suburbs that we will surely talk about this episode. Like maybe you miss out on certain things like that, but what do you think?
I want to see what they do with that, because a lot of the times, like, I respect the ambition. I like of encouraging multiple scenarios. Like, I respect the ambition,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of, like, if not done well, it makes it seem hollow, and where you could have put that attention somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what that means. But like a good example, also a bad example, is like an example of it done well and poorly is Telltale. Because in Telltale's heyday, you honestly had no idea whether or not a choice was going to mean anything,
Right,
or if it was going to have significant ramifications. Like in this regard, it's on path A, path B, or however they implement these choices.
yeah.
But like for a specific example, in season 3, it's a 3-year-old. Well, it's a 3-year-old season. Sorry about the spoiler, but like Conrad in I think episode 2, if you choose to spare Conrad, and then in episode 3, if you give Conrad the gun, he survives. If you don't give him the gun, he dies. And it's not played off like a major, like, you have to choose right now. It's, do you want to give him the gun or not? And then that's it. Like, just a small choice having ramifications in a character death. But I assume Last of Us Part 2 won't be that in depth with choices, because it's linear has a negative connotation to it, but like a linear based story, because it's you're progressing through the story naturally. It's not a choice based game. That's what I mean by linear.
Right.
But I don't expect that kind of level of depth. But it would be interesting to see.
Yeah. I think at most, like, we'll miss out on like little like side things, like the story missions and stuff like that. Like, it's definitely gonna be sad. Like, it's not like there'll be a huge component to the main story that we won't understand, because we didn't do X or Y in the first playthrough or whatever. Yeah, I agree. Well, links below in the description if you want to check out the Last of Us PS4 Pro bundle, as well as Last of Us Part 2 inside the gameplay docuseries. So that's pretty cool that you can check that out down below in the description. Also, it's pretty timely that they're rolling this out while we're doing our recap series. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just timely. But let's get right into it. Of course, we are doing the Last of Us replay series on the stream series as well on the channel, where every Wednesday I am going through the given section on stream live for you guys to watch for your enjoyment. If you don't have access to the game somehow, or just want to see me, play the game, sure, why not? And then we talk about it on the Road to Part 2 episode that goes up Friday of that week. So this week we played the sewers technically, as well as the suburbs and Tommy's Dam. And man, just to like briefly just like talk about this section, very, very short section, definitely flew by, but also it ends at a point that, man, you don't want to put down the controller. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to go into that university and get that whole thing, but we will save that for next week. So going in, we come off of, Henry saving Joel from jumping off the bridge in Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? And and we are going into the tunnels on this, like, I guess like outskirts island type thing. I'm not really sure what it is geography wise, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so because I do want to tackle like the story of Ish very, very lightly throughout this whole thing. But you get his first letter, on that same island where you wake up after Henry saving you on his crashed ship. And this really cool story of Ish. If you guys don't know about it, you just didn't pick up any of the letters that were there because not said dialogue wise. It's just all purely just based on like letters that you find throughout the level of the sewers and the suburbs as well. And you first find his letter in that crash ship as well. He was apparently just out at sea. He was trying to avoid the pandemic and all that good stuff and the infected. So he just wanted to just be out at sea, just chilling, you know. And then he comes back and he sees that it is hell on earth, literally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But going in, so then he decides to make refuge inside the sewers, you know. But going in, how did you feel about the sewer section? Just like overall top level stuff, and then we can go into it, you know, step by step, you know.
There are a lot of sewers in games.
A lot of sewers in games, man. Resident Evil was the one I remember most recently. But
yeah, there's a like both Resident Evil 2 and 3 both had sewers in them.
Yeah.
Like a lot of sewers. Like Spider-Man has sewers. Doom had a sewer.
It's true.
Resident Evil 2 and 3 had sewers. Postal has sewers.
Shout out to sewers, man.
Shout out to sewers. Like, it's there are a lot of sewers. It's we've kind of seen a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
I know a YouTuber I watch, Civi11, who does a lot of like Doom and Postal videos and stuff like that. Like, he has a joke called Sewer Count, where he does the amount of sewers that you see in games. We're at a lot of sewers.
Definitely. But does this rank amongst like the top of the sewers, like in terms of like your personal sewer ranking in gaming that you have?
Honestly, no.
Oh snap! So you, I mean, this section isn't like the greatest. I feel like either. You know,
it's not like. It's the weakest and like an S tier game, which means it's still pretty good.
Right.
But it's not. It's definitely not as good as we've seen.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the game, like I definitely feel like this part of summer is my least favorite part of the game.
It really.
Yeah. Like.
No, wait. I guess I can see that. I was a little bit shocked when you said that, but I guess I can kind of see that.
No, just like this small part.
Right. Oh, like just the sewers part specifically?
Yeah, like just like this little segment until we get into like for lack of a better phrase, the big kahuna of summer.
Yeah.
Like this part is a little slow
right.
for a while. But that's okay.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of game.
Yeah, like I mean, like I just thought it was really cool, like with the like sewer part mainly, because you get to see like how different people dealt with the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Like some like joined the Fireflies, you know, and tried to do that cause. Some just remained under martial law, like we saw in Boston. Some became like scavengers and like people that were pretty much like bounties. Like not bounty hunters, like killing people, but I guess sometimes, but like, you know, just doing jobs for certain people for rations, like Joel and Tess, you know. And then we have these people here that we actually have two instances of this where like they try to bunker down a specific area in the hopes to find some normalcy amongst the chaos, you know.
Yeah,
like I think like it's very, very, very cool. Like he's seeing how like within the level of the underground, you know, place that we were at, there's like classrooms there and there's kids stuff because there were like a bunch of kids under in and around this whole area and different stuff like that. So like I thought that was pretty cool. But I think where I think like the Suburbs part kind of fails, in my opinion, is that like when you think back to the basement in the hotel in Pittsburgh, right? Like that felt more of like what the sewers should have felt like to me. Like I think like the sewers should have been more of like had more like horror-esque sprinkles in it, you know, and be a little bit more like terrifying, you know, because like the sewers isn't at all really that scary, you know. Like there's a lot of infected there, but it's never like delivered in the way that I would imagine a sewer level would be delivered
Like
in.
horror.
Yeah, like like turn off the lights a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe like have some weird looking like red lights. I don't know. Like maybe I'm tripping, but like I just was looking for like if I'm gonna go into the sewers in a pandemic, right? Like trying to cut through it. Like I imagine it'd be, the same level of like at least try to like have a atmosphere being a little bit more tense, like
Yeah.
in the basement of the hotel. That's just kind of what I thought. But
yeah, no, I don't feel like Last of Us never really like this. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but it's when I think Last of Us, like I don't think tension, I don't think anything like that. I think the infected is just a backdrop to the larger human oriented story, but like I kind of want more tension in my post apocalyptic game. Like it doesn't really feel very tense, at least in my opinion. Even in the section that we played and last section, like it never really feels tense.
Right.
Because it's the sniper section, like where you're defending Ellie, Sam, and Henry.
Yeah.
It's like even that was like I get infinite ammo, and I can just fire away, shoot at everything until they get here. Like it never really feels tense, and it never really feels. I don't know how to phrase it without sounding like oh I'm good at games.
No, I like totally get what you're saying. Like especially I feel like there's like more of a point to be made when we get to that section where you're defending Henry, Sam, and Ellie from the men of David and then the infected as well. Like that one feels a little bit like more gamey in my opinion, which is like if you're gonna double down on like the realism of this world, and like double down on the like grimness and all that, like to have like a section where you have unlimited ammo and you're literally just sniping from a like dedicated post, like it's definitely like a very video exactly like a very like video game type of part where it's like like I don't know, that one didn't work for me either. But why we're skipping ahead pretty much of the sewers because like it's a very short section. There's a really cool moment where the group gets split up where it's Henry and Ellie and then Joel and Sam, and then like Henry screams to Joel like you better protect him, and like you know what I'm saying, like it's a moment where like both men have to trust each other and their abilities to protect the other's kid. Which I think was like a really cool like setup, as well. But not much else. We get the story of Ish. We see that there was a lot of people in the sewers, and there were a lot of kids there as well, and they were setting up like classrooms and everything. And like there's a really 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 sad drawing that one of the kids drew of Kyle, who we learn about a little bit later, and Ish being like I guess the main two like protectors of this settlement, and like they were like the like men that would like guard, I guess, or some however they want to phrase it. But like it's so heartbreaking because then later on you realize that there was a door that wasn't properly locked in the sewers, and in fact they got in, the whole place got overrun, and a lot of people died. Yeah, so like that is a big RIP in the chat, you know what I'm saying. And then we actually get the ending of Ish's story as we leave the sewers and go into the suburbs. So this is where we get like a really cool section where like we get a lot more of Sam and Ellie talking and asking questions about the world before the pandemic, and like there was a really cool bit of like the ice cream truck, where like Ellie thinks it's so alien and so weird that there were ice cream trucks that drove around neighborhoods to sell ice cream to kids, like and like played weird, what Joel says like weird creepy music,
He's right.
He is right. Like I didn't really, I wouldn't have called ice cream truck music creepy until like I actually recalled it. And I was like, yeah, it definitely sounds pretty creepy. Definitely sounds pretty creepy. But the last bit that we get of Ish is in a house where Ish says that, you know, a small subsect of the group survived with him, and they're just gonna see how, you know, and we didn't really get any more explanation as to where they go from here. And just like I did want to just talk about the story of Ish because like it is a like not like a big deal from like a journalist standpoint, but like a lot of people love the story of Ish and like love that type of, you know, story thread across different layers and stuff like that. So, and I hope we get some word about him in part 2, you know, or just
see like some development.
Yeah, like I mean, I have a theory that like I feel like it's a little bit too on the nose and too like, you know, what's the word, like too convenient of a thing to happen. But I would love to see like, you know, Ish at Tommy's settlement. You know, like somehow, some way they made it to Tommy's settlement. You know, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah,
but that just seems like a little bit too like on the nose. Like, oh, like of course they made it to Tommy's settlement. You know, but who knows? Who knows? But we get into the suburbs. You know. How do you feel about the suburbs overall? Like, what are your thoughts on it? You know, and if you want to just talk a little bit more about the super video gaming section, you know, feel free.
Again, like I think this is my least favorite part of the game.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah.
Like it's, there are like, I don't know. It feels harsh. There are some sections in games that I wish I could just skip.
Right.
Like for example, Final Fantasy VII had the arm crane things with Aerith.
Yeah.
I would skip those again.
Yeah.
Mass Effect had the Mako. I would skip all that again. And Last of Us has this section, like this small little section. I'm grateful that it's not very long. Like the whole from beginning to end of this segment for this episode was like 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours flat, you know. In contrast to the previous episode, which was like a solid like 3.5, almost 4 hour chunk, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like it. If I could skip it, I would, because the only significant thing that happens off screen.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, like I don't feel like anything thematically or narratively is lost, because I don't know, like you could say, oh, Henry got grabbed when he and Joel were in the sewers, but Joel saved him immediately, and it still wasn't enough.
Right.
Like, you throw that in, you skip this little segment, and then you see what happens with Henry and Sam.
Yeah.
And so, oh no, Sam gets grabbed. Did I say that?
I think you said Sam. I think.
Yeah. I believe so. If not, then Sam. But and then there you go. You show development of Joel's character, like a little failure on his part, because so far, like, he hasn't really. He hasn't been kind, but he also hasn't screwed anything up.
Right.
Like, and to err is human. Like, to make mistakes is human. And I feel like a mistake like that would kind of humanize Joel in the eyes of a character. Like, oh yeah, we all say, like, everybody says, like, oh yeah, in an apocalypse I'd be super chill and figure everything out, especially after 20 years. But I don't think anybody in this world is used to it.
Yeah. Right.
So it shows a little like humanization, like, oh, Henry lost Sam, Ellie is important to me, I need to do better than I did for Sam.
Right. Like, overall, like, you're absolutely right. Like, from the suburbs in the section when you're down in the sewers, you know, like, there's not really a lot that happens as pertinent as opposed to the last thing that we will talk about probably here on after I'm done talking about this a little bit. But like, honestly, like, I feel like, yeah, like the only two things that these parts really like feed into the overall story, I guess you want to say, or like the main point of these things is like showing how different people reacted to the pandemic. We then see a little bit more of like contextual like storytelling with Ellie asking questions about the world before, and we like did you catch that moment of Ellie and Sam playing darts?
Yes.
See, like I thought that was a little bit, showing that like, hey, like at the end of the day, kids will be kids. Like they have like a real moment, there of just like not killing or not, being afraid, whatever. Just playing some darts, and yeah, like that's pretty much, all we get. Like somehow the men of David track them down and even call them by name, not by name, but like call them by like, yo, you guys are the stragglers from Pittsburgh, like, you guys won't get away this time. Like some like they're like starting of like some like cat and mouse chase, which I guess then, which I guess then like my main question is that like, why would they even go after them?
They've been slaughtering their men.
Okay, so for like revenge. Okay, it's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very fair point.
They know them by association of Pittsburgh, and they know where they started because of the carnage they've left behind.
Right. And
it's really cool to see them build a reputation.
It is cool. Yeah.
Because Joel, in the beginning of the story, at least in the beginning of the post-pandemic kind of deal story, he has a small reputation amongst the smugglers and the underworld of the cities and all that. Mm-hmm. He has a reputation amongst them. However, through the progression of the story, Joel has a greater reputation because then he defends the dam later. He's the butcher from Pittsburgh.
Right.
Like David is familiar with them through like Ellie and Joel. Like they know is like, oh, a teenage girl and an older man have been slaughtering dozens of people and infected.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Yeah.
And they build a reputation amongst the antagonists of the game. And even the protagonists, like Tommy's Dam, like they know Joel by the end of his time with them.
It's really cool. Super cool. Yeah, I agree. And then during this, very video gamey section where you're sniping, unfortunately, our boy Sam does get bitten, during this whole thing. And I think some really powerful, like, storytelling as well. Like, even so, post the video game section, we just get to a pretty decently sized chunk of cutscene where we have Henry and Joel, reminiscing about Harley Davidson motorcycles and stuff like that, and like Henry always wanted to ride one that just some like nice light-hearted banter between Joel and Henry and Ellie, whatever. Then Ellie goes to check on Sam, where at this point we don't really know that he's been bitten, but definitely something's up, and Sam's talking about the prospect of like, is there an afterlife, and he's afraid of turning into one of those things of the infected. Like it is definitely like a great way of showing, I feel like, how a little kid would probably start talking when he's trying to hide that something horrible has happened to him, but he doesn't want to say it, but he's just asking questions about it.
Like a kid that's scared to die.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's super sad, actually. It's really sad. Like I felt really sad about it when he started talking about like, post-death, like what does Ellie believe post-death? And like, Ellie's like, yeah, like I guess I kind of don't believe in like, God or like a heaven, what I'm saying? And we see that Sam doesn't either, even though Henry has been trying to tell Sam that like that's what happens when you die, whatever. Like it just a little like it was just cool seeing a like pretty like serious, like I guess like a pretty serious and very like quote unquote like adult conversation being had about. Honestly, this whole thing is pretty cool because like we have the adults talking about like something that some kids would talk about per se, or like younger kids, and we have the younger kids talking about very serious things, You know,
like life and death and all that.
yeah. Like, I guess I hadn't taken into account right now, but like, that's a pretty cool comparison there. And then we get the beautiful scene of Ellie giving Sam the toy that she stole back when they first met, and I think that is super powerful. You know, now that like, you know, at the end of the day, like Sam got to spend his last night or last few hours as a human, you know, in a little bit more comfort than what he would have, you know, without Ellie. Yeah. Like that's super touching too. Wake up in the morning, Henry's cooking some bomb food, yo. Like, dang. Like, all right, okay, bro, I see you, King. All right, I see you, you know. And then unfortunately, Ellie goes to check on Sam. Sam is turned and infected, and Henry refuses to let Joel take him out. Henry does it himself, and then kills himself.
Oof.
Super sad, like very, very like serious. That, like, even to this day, like this is like the 4th, 5th time I've played through that section, and like it still is just like like it's really heavy. Yeah, it's very, very such a heavy scene. But yeah. So I guess before we get on to Tommy's Dam, like, do you have like any like last thoughts on this scene, or like any last thoughts on Henry and Sam and all that we just talked about?
I don't know. Like, I'm not a storyteller. I don't know, like, structure a good story.
Right.
It just feels like they spend a lot of time building up these characters just to throw them away in, like, what, 2-3 hours?
About. Yeah. About. And like, I mean, I guess somebody that was advocate, like, I think like that's a great way. Like, even though like it seems like a waste of characters per se, I think that's not what. Exactly. Yes. That like this world doesn't care about sacredity. You know, like this world is relentless, unforgiving, brutal. You know, and like doesn't care about what the human thinks is important. You know, like it's super, super interesting in that way. You know, but we skip over to it's the summer. No. Which season is it? Fall.
This is summer leading into fall.
Right. Okay, so fall we got going on right here. We head on to, you know, we're on the way to Tommy's Dam. We're pretty much outside of it. And we definitely see a change in the way Joel and Ellie talk. Like, they're a lot more talkative, you know what I'm saying? And they've seemed to be growing a lot closer to each other, you know? Like, at least, you know, what I was saying last episode, like, they have been, like, showing, like, you know, glimpse and mirror in, like, little, you know, shades of them growing closer. But it definitely is and feels a lot closer this specific chapter in Tommy's Dam, you know? At least from what I feel like. Definitely, you know? But we get there, and we do have to do this, like, somewhat annoying thing if it's your first time playing, but having to, you know,
you swim around.
Yeah, like swimming around, getting to the other gate, getting like over to the other side. I remember like when I was first playing through Last of Us, I remember this section being like kind of annoying, you know. But it's really quick when you do it like the second, third, fourth time or whatever. So not that big of a deal. And I think the last thing to really like take note of during this first lead up into Tommy's Dam is that Joel does not want to talk about Henry and Sam.
Yeah.
He's like very strict on like, we don't like things happen, we move on, you know.
Yeah, which is a little like, well, heavy, like
very heavy.
It shows that it really did mess with him.
Yeah, definitely, and like it and like, I mean, from like obviously, you know, I've never raised a kid, right? But like, I would consider that probably like not the best way to go about it. You know, not the best way to go about trauma, I think, you know, like burying inside, you know, and not discussing what is affecting you, you know? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't consider that to be like the best things. And I do wonder if this specific theme will bleed into part 2, like in terms of like, you know, I wonder if like Ellie will grow up, you know, with developments and with repercussions that were instilled with that line about like things happen, we move on, we don't talk about, you know, what hurt us, or, you know, what pain we've been through, etc. Like, I'm very curious to see if there's anything that pays off in part 2 tied directly to that line, you know. But we shall see. So we go in. There's a little weapon that you get, which I love, the El Diablo. You know what I'm saying? I love that thing. I love the El Diablo.
I never use it.
What? I love it. It's so good. I love it. It like one hits everything for the most part. Like, it's great.
That's why I don't use it. I don't know. I like to put artificial challenges whenever I play games. I don't know. I don't know why. Like, it's a lot of the time it's because games don't know, like, I don't know, even on grounded part, Last of Us isn't very difficult, so it's like, I don't know, I'll do like, I played Doom 2016 pistol only nightmare run.
Damn.
Last of Us part one time I just did pistol only.
Right.
And so it feels like cheating, even though it's in the game and it says, hey, use this gun.
Yeah,
it's fun, use the gun. And it's like, don't worry about it, just use the gun. It's like, nah.
For me, like, I more like it because, like, whenever I rarely snipe, right, I love bolt action snipers. Like, I love the ability to, like, you know, have like, all right, Kev, like, you have to hit this shot, or else you're gonna have to reload like another chamber, and it's gonna take a lot of time, leave yourself vulnerable. So like, that's, I think, my favorite part about the Diablo, where like it's a bit of a bolt action-esque type of, you know, pistol, you know. But I like it. Yeah. And then we finally get introduced to Tommy after seeing him in the first prologue of the game. He's definitely grown. Tommy is just cool as hell to me, you know. I don't know how you feel about Tommy, but like, I think Tommy's a cool dude, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, everybody, like, a lot of the main characters are all very cool. Like, they do cool things. Like, I don't know, maybe it just feels like none of them are ever like kind of like dorky characters.
Yeah.
It's in I don't know, like, you remember Uncharted 2? You remember Jeff?
I do remember Jeff. I do remember Jeff.
Like, you had Elena and Chloe and especially Nate that were just super cool. Like,
so cool.
Yeah, like, all of them were doing like cool things, and Jeff is
Jeff.
Jeff
is just Jeff chilling.
Yeah, Jeff, and since he wasn't important, he got real quick.
He was the cameraman, right?
Yeah, Jeff the cameraman. Thanks for the opinion, Jeff.
Shout out to Jeff one time for real. Shout out to Jeff. You love to see it. Oh man. But we go in to the compound. You know, we see Maria. I believe her name is, right? Maria, I hope.
Yes, I believe.
I really hope I'm not. You know what? I'm gonna check, but I was gonna just wing it and call her Maria for the entire episode, but I just want to make sure.
I believe it's Maria.
I'm pretty sure it's Maria too. Tommy's wife, The Last of Us. Ashley. She's voiced by Ashley. Ugh, come on now.
Oh yeah.
Come on, guys. I need the name. Oh, it is Maria. Okay, great. Okay, her name is Maria. I can confirm. She is the wife of Tommy. You know, which Joel definitely was not aware of Tommy having a wife, so it's pretty cool to get that there and stuff like that. And like, it was really cool. Like, this whole thing. So essentially, you know, they are at the dam. They're trying to get the power on this specific day. They eventually are successful at it. But I think what I really want to highlight during this entrance into Tommy's dam is Ellie's reaction to Joel going with Tommy and Joel telling Ellie to stay with Maria. You know, because like, it is very clear that like Ellie does not want to do that. You know, Ellie just wants to stay with Joel. You know.
Yeah.
And like, I thought that was like kind of heartbreaking. Where like, man, like Ellie's starting to grow like really, really connected to Joel. you know,
Yeah,
and like view him as like
a father figure.
Yeah, exactly, like a bit of a father figure. Kev, you right? A bit of a father figure, for sure. And I said, oh man, like that was so heartbreaking, kind of. But we go off with Tommy. We're just small talking about the dam, talking about everything. Oh, then one of the most heartbreaking things too is Tommy saying that he went back home to Texas and went back to their houses and was able to retrieve a picture of Joel and Sarah back in the day. And that one
would crush me. That would crush me.
Oh god, that would hurt so bad. And Joel just refuses to take it. He goes, "Nah, wait, is that a choice? Can you take it or not take it?" I'm pretty sure do you just not take it?
I believe it's a choice.
It is.
Yeah, like it's kind of like giving Ellie a high five.
Man, like I wanted to take it, but he just didn't.
I don't know. Like, honestly,
I forgot.
Like, here's a question for you.
What do you got?
Have you ever had somebody young in your life, like a little brother or a cousin or something like that you were close to?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like
I have a little brother.
Like, yeah, like imagine they die in your arms, and then 20 years later, you're offered a picture of them. Do you take it? Like, would you take it?
That's a very good point. Because,
I don't think I would.
I don't know. That's a very good point because, like, what I think of, so like what jumped to my thought process, right, is like definitely very different circumstances, very different like relationship type of dynamics, but like if like let's say you were still single like 10 years after like, you know, a like girlfriend of yours died, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And someone offered you a picture of that girlfriend, right? Like I think like the main thought process that I would have is that like I've made so much progress, hopefully, as a person and gone through the mourning process, you know, and I've mostly healed, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If not 100% healed from that heartache and from that trauma, and would taking back that picture completely override and negate all of the progress that you made as a person. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, it's kind of like even during a breakup.
Yeah.
Like we've all experienced heartache. We've all been broken up with, or like been in a breakup situation.
Truly.
Like,
it's not fun.
Seeing those pictures, like depending on the time frame afterwards, is heart wrenching.
Yeah.
Like it's especially pictures of like intimacy, like hugging or like being next to each other, like intimacy like that.
Yeah.
It's heart wrenching. Like if you know, like you lose a parent or something like somebody you're very close with, like family.
Right.
Like I don't know. Like it's very, very difficult whether or not I would take it or not, because like you said, it'll unearth a lot.
Right. Yeah.
No, yeah. I don't know. It's like I love these tiny little details. Well, this isn't a tiny detail, but like the tiny like world building, character building details that really reinforce and help develop a character and their like personality.
Yeah. And like definitely like when you also think about it, like the prospect of like Joel telling Ellie that like pretty much the last thing that Tommy ever told me was like, I don't want to ever see your fucking face again, you know? Yeah. And for Tommy to still go back home to Texas and grab that picture when he saw it, you know, and hopes that like maybe one day he will be able to give it to Joel. Like I think that's super powerful too, like in terms of like no matter like I mean, do you have a brother, Orly?
I have two sisters.
Okay, so you could definitely like relate from like a factor of like being a sibling, of course, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like with me and my little brother, like like growing up as well as obviously today, it's not like we fight every day ever, really. Like, but
Yeah.
growing up, whatever, like we would like have little bickers and like kid fights and stuff like that, and like it sounds like Joel and Tommy had like a pretty big falling out,
Yeah.
in terms of what they went through and everything as brothers. But at least with me and my little brother, whenever there was like a little fight in the house over that like we had, all we needed was like a few hours, and then we were back to chilling, watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, playing Black Ops 1, and just like chilling out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
My sister and I, like, I've never met one of my sisters.
interesting.
It's a long story.
Gotcha.
But the sister that I live with, or lived with, um, we sometimes, like, we would have, like, the longest I've gone without talking to her while living in the same house, I think, is a month.
Dang.
Like, we have had some pretty big falling outs.
Interesting.
So it's rough. Like, I understand that Tommy and Joel, like, situation, like, very, very clearly,
Right.
because I could put like the whole thing about games like this, like games like these, that make it so different from other experiences, that make it worthwhile to honestly watch. Like, it's just like 15 hours of people suffering.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, what's also really cool is that like, even though like you could generalize Last of Us and call it like, oh, it's just like another zombie game, you can call it that, but there's a lot
There's
of
so much more.
there's so much more to like the character's trauma than the pandemic and this outbreak, and there's so much more to like their motivations as well, that go beyond just the pandemic, that like I think is super super unique, at least I feel like.
Yeah.
So
No, like,
yeah.
the ability to put yourself in a character's position, because The Last of Us is, for better or worse, inherently human.
Definitely.
Like, if I had to put the whole game and it's what I perceive their themes to be and everything about The Last of Us, it's human.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
like what we talked about, like, Joel is not a good person.
Right.
Like, and that's something that we don't always see in games, like, because a lot of protagonists, like, oh, they're like a super good guy, or they're a little rough around the edges, but like at their core, like, good. Like Spider-Man and Cloud, like, Spidey is a good guy,
Right. Definitely.
and Cloud is rough around the edges, but everybody knows he's just trying to be tougher than he actually is.
Especially Tifa.
Yeah.
I love when Tifa says, completely not last relate, but like, I love when Tifa goes like, no, Cloud, like, you're like not this like tough soldier, like, what I'm saying, like, it's
Yeah.
all just an act, like, I know like who you are, so like I think that was like pretty cool as well.
But Joel is,
yeah.
like, at his core, not very good.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty,
pretty, even like, even in the very beginning of the game, like, he just, like, he hardly reacted when he gunned down his neighbor.
that,
like-
and like even when he turned down like picking up and like helping people on the side of
Yeah.
the road, like what Sarah was trying to get him to do, like, yeah, definitely, like there's definitely shades of like selfishness and shades of like,
Yeah.
just not thinking about the well-being of like another person or themselves, definitely.
Yeah. So it's interesting and, like, human, because not everybody's good.
Right.
Like, I believe most people are good, but it's also interesting to see a protagonist with these selfish motivations that are, like, not the pinnacle of their character, but a pillar of their character, for lack of a better phrase.
Right.
So
Definitely.
it's fun to see, it's interesting to see, and it's relatable, because, like, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Like, we are all, as humans, like, we all have done selfish things, we all have done things that we're not proud of, so it's good to see. I don't know, it's like almost relatable in a way,
Yeah.
to see these darker shades of human personality in a character and see that character develop.
I totally get what you mean, because like from a lesser from like a different standpoint, obviously, like I think like Nathan Drake as a character gets a lot more interesting with Uncharted 3 and Uncharted 4 than Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2. You know, where like Nate is just like in Uncharted 1 and 2, like he's just that like adventurer archetype, you know, quick-witted, funny, you know, this adventure action hero, right? Then we get to Uncharted 3 where he starts yelling at Sully for Sully questioning like, what is this all for, you know?
Yeah.
And then we get, you know, Nathan Drake in Uncharted 4 where he straight up lies to Elena and goes behind her back, and like, you know, like it's where we start to see like the cracks in a perfect hero that I think make that hero more grounded and more human. Definitely. Yeah, I agree.
And Druckmann was a big part of Uncharted 4's story, I
Precisely.
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Precisely.
So, yeah, like I love his storytelling. I'm interested to see where part 2 takes us.
Definitely.
But like, yeah, no, after letting the leaks sit and marinate, for a lack of a better word.
I love saying the word marinate for like thoughts.
Yeah.
Most people get like, what are you talking about? Like, no, like that definitely makes sense. Like,
yeah,
that does not make sense. Like, yeah.
I've kind of like shaken off it's like, yeah, sure, I got the story ruined, and sure, I got these major beats ruined that I've been waiting for, and yeah, okay, maybe it's a little ruined for me, but I'm still excited. Like, I wasn't, like, we talked about it a few weeks ago, like I wasn't excited very much anymore,
right?
But like after just reading some of the tweets and hearing people's thoughts on the whole matter, like you and the members of our Discord, like Owen and Tajay, and just seeing everybody's thoughts and perspectives on everything going on, it's like I'm excited to see the journey, even though I know where it goes.
Right.
And
Definitely.
I feel like that's a testament to Druckmann's writing and the team at Naughty Dog. Like I'm excited to see what they do, and I will be going in with an open mind. And it's like I like playing part 1 has really made me appreciate the journey. Like I have a newfound appreciation for the game, because like we've mentioned multiple times on the podcast, growing up and developing as a human being. Like I was a kid when I played. I was immature. I was hot-headed. I thought, hey, like, you know, just like beat everybody up, and that's cool, and that's all you need. But being an adult has really made me appreciate these very human like elements in a game that makes you think about things that you may not originally have thought of or are not comfortable thinking of.
Right.
Which is interesting, and that's not something you always get, especially in a game that doesn't have choices, like fundamental choices, like a Telltale game or a Quantic Dream game. Like this is a linear storytelling game that makes you think about its tiny details as much as its major centerpieces of storytelling.
Very, very true. Very, very true. But you know, then we of course go through the compound of Tommy's camp. You know, it's some small talk with Tommy. We get to the generator room seemingly, and they're able to turn on the power throughout the camp, which is really cool to see that. But I think something that I didn't really pick up on is that like not only does the dam power the dam itself, but also the community that we see, you know, at the end of this section. You know, I guess I never really considered that. Oh shoot, like they're not only trying to power this dam facility, but like also down there in the big town. Like it's pretty cool to see that too. Like, oh man, like all right, like really, really neat stuff. You know, I don't know why I didn't pick up on that till this playthrough, but oh well. So that all happens, and then the dam gets attacked by some I keep wanting to call them stragglers, but you know the word. God, Raiders.
Yeah,
I guess, you know what I'm saying. Like they attack the dam. We go into this whole combat section. Pretty cool. Like I guess like this section like I guess was an excuse to give them a little bit of combat. I guess yeah, and some gameplay.
To break it up.
Yeah, but right before this attack, we get a really interesting cutscene between Joel and Tommy, where Joel's telling him, "Listen, this girl Ellie, she's immune. I've seen it from my own eyes. I've seen her breathe in. I think he says like I've seen her breathe in the amount of spores that would kill 15 men.
Yeah.
And like he insinuates that he's gonna show Tommy the bite that Ellie has, where like Joel's like, I can even show you as well. Like and then they get into this little bit of an argument where. Interestingly, like Tommy has a quote where like Tommy says that he has nightmares from those times of Joel and Tommy just being alone trying to survive. Like, very interesting stuff. Like, I wonder what like Joel kind of made Tommy do, or what they had to do to survive. Like you gotta think to like back when, Joel hints at him being on the other side of that like scheme that was in Pittsburgh. Of like faking that you're an injured person and them attacking innocent people and like scavenging them and stuff like that. Like I wonder if that's what he's talking about in terms of like the nightmares that Tommy has like about those years with Joel. Very very interesting stuff there. And then I love when also when like Joel says like he calls Tommy like boy, but like in a very like how I phrase this.
War.
No, like in a very like Texas accent type of way. Like I forgot what exactly he says. Like, oh, like don't play with me, boy, or something like that. Like that's very like that. Like we've never heard him say that, but it makes sense when you bring up those
older brother, younger brother like feel.
Exactly. Yeah, and like from where they lived in Texas, like that type of way of speaking, like it definitely shone out right there. And I think that it wouldn't have shown if he wasn't talking with Tommy. Exactly. Like I think that was a really really cool detail of like to show a little bit of like Joel's past and like how Joel is as a essence from his home, back in Texas. I thought that was pretty cool. The DM gets attacked, what I'm saying. After that very intense scene with Tommy, they go straight into like, I love that line where like Tommy goes like, hey, like you still know how to kill, and Joel goes like, yeah, I do know how to kill. Like, I don't know. I thought that was a really neat detail as well. We goes this whole, combat sequence, whatever. At the end of it, we finally see Maria and Ellie. Ellie is like shook, talking about, oh my God, like dude busted in with a shotgun, broke the glass, she's very talking just like a very like pumped up kid with like adrenaline, super cool.
Yeah.
Tommy's looking at the way Joel is talking to Ellie. Tommy turns to Maria because listen, we gotta talk about something, because the whole essence of the conversation that Joel and Tommy had was that Joel wants Tommy to finish the job and take Ellie to the Fireflies because number one, he knows where they are, and number two, he feels that Tommy will be a better yeah, exactly, like a better means of getting there safely, which I guess like, do you have anything else that you read into Joel saying that? Like, do you think like it comes from a place of Joel just not being confident in himself, or what do you think?
Like, I don't think it's a self-confidence issue as much as it is just like we get Sarah, we get what happened to Sarah, and then we get Joel saying, hey, take her, because like you said, like he's very comfortable or getting to be comfortable with her towards the beginning of fall, and then we're reminded again of what happened to the last time Joel was emotionally invested in someone like Sarah, because it was Sarah. It's like Ellie is reminiscent of that thing that he lost,
right?
So it feels like a defense mechanism in a way. It's like, oh yeah, instead of dealing with the trauma, I'll just avoid the trauma.
Right. Very, very well put. Very well put. Yeah, I think that like we see here that like for the first time, like Joel is like admittedly saying that like he can't take the thought of losing Ellie.
Yeah.
At this point, You know, like he can't do it. You know, and we will see more of that at the very end of the game when he really can't take losing Ellie. You know, like it really shows at the end of the game as well. But like it's a great like kind of like foreshadow when you think about it in that manner of like, you know, it seems like Joel is trying to protect himself from seeing Ellie, you know, lost forever, you know, in a type of death way, of course. But then we get to Tommy talking to Maria about, you know, this whole thing, and Maria is definitely not down for it. And then Tommy puts the foot down and goes, "Listen, like that's my brother. I have to do this. Like this is not. It's shifted from asking you to just telling you at this point. You know."
Yeah.
And then Maria, you know, just has a little pass to, like has a little line to Joel saying, "Look, if anything happens to him, it's on you." You know. And then we get word that Ellie was trying to ask Joel, like, what are they talking about, you know? And then Joel just like, "I'll tell you later. I'll talk about later, whatever, you know." And just walks off in like a bit of like frustration, you know. And then we get word that Ellie stole one of the horses and just rides off into the woods, you know. So Joel and Tommy go after her on horse. We cut through the beautiful forest, you know, some really cool looking vibes and cool looking scenic views that we get. A little bit of gameplay here where we got to take out some guys at like an abandoned, like almost like lodge type of deal, you know. It kind of looks like something like that. Yeah, just like a little short section right there. We get to this really, really beautiful looking house in the woods in like a farm looking type of, I believe, setting. And then we get straight up, one of my favorite cutscenes in gaming.
Oh yeah, yeah.
One of my favorite cutscenes in gaming here. This whole thing is beautiful. I love this scene to death. You know, like this is up there with the other cutscene that we talked about with Uncharted 4, when Elena and Nate, you know, find the dining hall of the other pirates, you know, under Avery's command, you know, and they're all dead. Like I like that cutscene and this one are just like so good. But we get this heartbreaking cutscene when, you know, Joel goes up to confront Ellie about, you know, why'd you run away? You know, just like, come on, we gotta go, whatever. And then Ellie admits that like if she has to continue on without Joel, she doesn't want to do it, and she's scared, and she doesn't like the prospect of Joel giving her the Tommy to finish off this journey, you know. Like it's so heartbreaking. I don't know. It's God. What do you think about it? What do you think?
Like you said, it is masterful storytelling. It is one of my favorite cutscenes in the game. It's like there's only like one or two other instances of greater demonstration of these two characters coming together and connecting in this game,
right?
Which is what we all love in this game. Like, we don't play it for the combat, we don't play it for anything like that. We play it for the characters, and we play it for the development between these characters that we have so come to care for. And this is where the game, like, I was already hooked. Like, my first playthrough, I was already hooked by this game at this point. But this is the part that really sold I want Joel and Ellie to be closer. Like, I want them to be friends. I want them to be like partners and stuff like that.
Right.
And I want them to be like what the other was missing. Like, Ellie wanted someone she could trust after what happened to Riley, and Joel needed something else to help stabilize him and bring him down to earth. And these two are like a perfect fit in an imperfect world.
Yes. And something, okay, completely you know, sidetracking, when that I forgot to mention until just now, that I want to make sure we just get out there before we continue on to the end portion of this whole thing. When you first get into Tommy's camp, Joel's like, how did you know how to ride a horse, Ellie? Like he questions, how did she know how to ride a horse? And she name drops Winston from the comics that we
Ooh.
yeah. Did you get that little bit?
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I know that. Like, I know that reference. Like the like meme. I was like, oh man, like I know that. That was great. That was beautiful. Yeah, so really cool that we did the comics right before this little let's play. Definitely good timing there. But yeah, this cutscene is one of my favorite cutscenes in gaming. It's absolutely great. It's heartbreaking, to like have Ellie just be super honest, to Joel and all that. And then I love when Ellie starts to bring up Sarah. Joel goes, "You are treading on mighty thin ice here." Like, I love that line. I love that line and the delivery, like, and the shake and quiver in his voice. Like, it's so good. Troy Baker, 10 out of 10 for this scene.
Troy Baker.
10. What a guy. What a guy.
Troy Baker also broke my heart because Troy Baker and I think the head of Marvel Games, tweeted at Troy Baker or replied to him saying, it's like, "Oh, you truly are a man without fear." And I was like, And then like a day later, he was like, "Oh, we're not making a Daredevil game. We were just we want to, but we're not. So don't get your hopes up." It's like, fuck.
Tragic.
Like, give me what I want.
Actually, a little complete side note. I think I've told you, but tomorrow on JoyClicks, I'm playing Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna see how that goes. That goes.
Have fun.
That doesn't sound convincing. Oh man. I guess we'll see how that goes. But then the conversation gets cut short with Tommy saying, "Hey, yo, we got baddies down on the first floor. We got to handle this, right?" So we do a little bit more killing there,
As we do.
Yeah, as we do. You know what I'm saying? And we exit the house. Ellie is definitely just straight face. Just, I don't want to talk. Like, I hate both of you pretty much. Like, I'm sick of this. I just want Joel out. Whatever. And then we get a nice little kind of montage of them going towards Tommy's settlement, the actual town. And then we get glimpses of like Joel taking a little bit of a stare at Ellie, like, man, like, is this the right decision? Like, should I like really do this? Like, just can like have Tommy finish this job, like should I do this, whatever, And then at the end of the whole entire section that we are on this week, we get the beautiful, just like, all right, you know what, Tommy, I'm gonna take this horse if you don't mind if I do. Ellie, get on this horse with me. Let's do this. And so then Tommy gives him the location of the Firefly lab. From what he last knew, obviously, we figure out later on that it's not the exact location of the lab anymore, but it's northeastern Colorado, I think is what the college is called, right? What is it again?
I don't recall.
It's like northeast something. I forget if I'm wrong. I'm sorry about that, but because Joel makes a comment like, "Go whatever the mascot is for that school." So I presume it's a real school. I think, or probably not. No, probably not. It's probably not a real school, like in the U.S. Maybe not. That would have been lit if they were like, "Hey, yo, it's in the science building at Arizona State University." You know what I'm saying? Like, haha, go Sun Devils. Well, yeah. So the scene ends there, and the section for this week ends there. So overall, before we close out, do you have any last things that you want to get off your chest about this section? Anything you wanted to bring up that we forgot to? Any and all thoughts, my good sir?
I think this is the slowest segment of the playthrough. Like, it's like, I don't know what to call it. Like, it's not like it's like a filler episode, kind of.
I can see that, yeah, because I think like the main things you get from this are very much like set up. I feel like
it's all set up. Like, we got some character building, we got some memorable moments.
Yeah, because definitely next week we have a very long section, I think.
Yeah,
And
it's
lot
gonna be
a lot of things go down. Yeah, a lot happens next week for sure. Yeah, so I guess you're right. Yeah, like it's at least I think filler in like not necessarily a negative, but it's just like just like not a lot of action or like not a lot of things happen in this, but they are necessary in terms of like fleshing out the characters and fleshing out the story and setting up what's happening next week and the week after, where we close out Last of Us. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to tee up before you hit it out of the park.
For sure, because we got some good stuff. We got some really, really good stuff for the next few episodes for sure to end that Last of Us. But yep, that has been this week's section. We went over, of course, the Suburbs, the Suburbs, and Tommy's Dam. Arachknight, where can people find you?
I am on the PlayStation Source Discord. Everybody, like a good chunk of us, are very active every day. I'm always on there. Like, we're talking about different topics every day. All things Last of Us, all things PlayStation, like what we're playing, like even things that aren't like necessarily PlayStation related. Like we just talk about, things in gaming that we love and things that we're interested in and any questions that we have. Like a lot of screenshot dumps of games we're playing, which I love to see. Like, I'm on Twitter at Orly_Macias. It'll be in the description.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're listening to this, like not on YouTube, if you're just listening to this, it's ORLY_MACIAS. Tag me in your gaming screenshots. I love that stuff. Like, I love seeing what people can do with photo mode, with games that support photo mode, or just like things that they find interesting in games like concept art and anything like that. Like, tag me in that stuff. I love it. Like, I'd love to talk about games. I love all things video games. I love comic books and movies and stuff like that. So I'd love to talk to anybody about any of that stuff. So yeah, like you can find me on those platforms, and yeah, that's about it for me.
Very, very good stuff. And of course, link down below in the description to Orly's links, as well as our PlayStation Source Discord links, where you can go and not Discord links, our links, where one of them is a Discord link. Definitely join that community. Definitely cool environment. A lot of people talking there. Very, very good stuff. As well as our Twitter at PSSourceVids, and as well as our Anchor link. If you'd like to listen to the show on a podcast format, that of course being Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcast. But hey, Spotify, I saw that you bought the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm officially saying Road to Part 2 and any other Road 2 content is up for purchase. If you'd like to make a deal with me, look, all right? Look, you know what I'm saying? If you would like to buy the exclusivity podcast rights, Spotify, hit your boy up.
Like,
God, can you imagine the price tag on the Joe Rogan podcast? That's of cost, bro.
I think they're doing just fine. However,
oh my god, I mean,
they got my monthly payment. So.
Oh man, I mean, I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast on Apple Podcasts, so I'm gonna have to, unfortunately, skim me on over to Spotify by the end of next year. Sorry, by the end of the year.
Oh, you use Apple Music?
Oh yeah. I'm on the right side of the war.
Dog, they don't have the Sonic soundtracks on Apple Music, so I don't want to hear that.
I mean, I'm gonna have to, get Spotify for Joe Rogan, of course, but we'll see.
They got that student discount.
They do. I mean, so does Apple Music. To be fair, so do they.
Yeah. I sleep.
Well, that has been a Road to Part 2 episode in the books, episode 36. Much love to everyone that has been supporting the series as we dwindle on over towards Last of Us Part 2. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like on the podcast if you enjoyed it, as well as stay subscribed to the PlayStation Source to keep up with latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you for watching, and as always, greatness awaits. See you guys.
See ya.